Joining the podcast is former Alabama and Arkansas Little Rock basketball coach Wimp Sanderson. Last time we talked, you had mentioned to me that after Bear Bryant had retired from the University of Alabama, his old office became your new office. Did you ever sit there and wonder if these walls could talk? What was your relationship like with Bear Bryant?
On the side, Coach West real close to anybody, particularly football assistants, or just knocked on his door when they needed to talk to him, and players did as well. He's pretty much stayed in that office and did what he needed to do, and then had his staff meetings right next door in a conference room. But it was fine. He was always nice to people and did the right thing towards trying to get his players to play hard and the coaches to coach well and I would ask him to do make some phone calls for me on to prospects that might be considering Alabama because people that came in recruited against us, used football against us, said that we didn't want a basketball program. Football was the kingpin. Of course, it was the kingpin, but he wanted to have a good basketball team too. And so I'd ask him occasionally to call two or three players that were on the fence a little bit, and he would do so. So it was fine.
Well, let me ask you, how do you think NIL would have affected college basketball and the way that you recruited back then if it was around?
Ridiculous. It's a killer of college athletics. It's a killer of college football. It's what the high roll cheating into it because they don't have a cap. You don't, there's the judge just day before yesterday uh, did not fine Virginia or Tennessee. It's a temporary thing, but took the side of the NIL that you can do whatever you need to do at the present time. I'm not sure that's going to stay that way, but the NIL and transfer portal are two very difficult things. You can't seem to, a kid may want to transfer once maybe because of a particular problem, but to continue to transfer over and over and over is not good. And some people say, well, coaches move, and coaches do move. Some coaches do move, but they also pay buyouts. So it's a deal where I don't think when it first started, I had Jay Billups on my show today, uh, where really that the transfer portal is really the cause of a lot of it because you can't coach your guys as well as you need to because they're looking to leave. A lot of jealousy involved in if somebody's making more money than you're making playing right next to you on the line or in the backfield or on the basketball court. It causes problems. So it's been a unique situation in that Congress is not into it yet. They're gonna have to find a cap on it to make it halfway decent, and they haven't found a cap yet. And are they gonna have to make just make employees out of them? And when they make employees out of them, and they're gonna have to pay state tax and those kind of things. The other factor too is that each state has different rules, and that makes it more complicated, more difficult. So I think it's I've gone a long way in answering your question, but Coach wouldn't have liked it at all, and just as Nick Saban doesn't like it at all.
Well, after Alabama, you went on to coach at Arkansas Little Rock and had a diamond in the rough there by the name of Derek Fisher. Did you have any idea back then that he would have the go on to have the career that he did in the NBA?
Well, he was a good player. He was a good leader and a good shooter and a good person, and I thought he had a chance to be good. I didn't know to what degree, but he got into the pros. He played awfully hard, and he worked very hard for us, working out every day with shooting the basketball a great deal, especially 3-point shots, because he had not, shot a lot of 3-point shots, but he worked really hard to improve his shooting, and he did that, and it's big, and so he ended up being a terrific player, and it's done awfully well. You never know about kids. you can't predict that they're going to do this or that. You just hopefully that when they leave you, that they're good enough and have learned enough and have mature enough to where they can play professional basketball because there's money there, and he was one of them that was able to do so.
Did he ever have any conversations with you about him wanting to be a coach one day?
Uh, I don't recall. If we had practice that was not going well during the day, I would just simply, say to him, you better get them together, D, and you better get them together and talk to them. If we don't, we're going to be out here all day, and it ain't going to be fun. So in that mode of it, he sort of became a leader for our team, and I didn't know. I can't remember. I can't really recall whether he said anything about coaching or not, but he had the leadership skills to be a good coach, and he coached well. None of your pro coaches stay very long because they all get fired. But he coached. Like he coached the ladies as well as the men in NBA. So he's made money and done well.
Well, going back to Alabama, you coached a tremendous athlete by the name of Latrell Sprewell, who also had a little bit of a temper. Did you have any issues with him while he was at Alabama? Did you have to stay on him any?
Well, I coached him like the rest of them. He's a little bit different to handle, but we handled him okay, and he played hard for us. He really improved from his. We got him from Three Rivers Junior College, and he really wasn't a great shooter when we got him, but we put him in Coleman Coliseum and let him live there, and he had to go to Shelton and do some extra work for his degree, and so we did that with him, and he shot a lot and did a lot of work on his game while he was in Coleman Coliseum, and he got a lot better between his junior and senior year. So by the time he became a senior, his shooting had improved a great deal, and he was very athletic, and so we were fortunate to get him, and he was fortunate to get us because we made him, we made him behave, and then made him also get into a junior college there on campus where he could get his grades better. So, most people say we were fortunate to get him. We were, but to be quite honest, he was fortunate to get us.
Well, out of Sprewell and Fisher, you also coached Robert Ory. Out of those three guys, who did you think would go on to have the most success?
I didn't have no idea. One thing I don't do much about visiting with people on the radio and television is I don't really compare teams much, and I don't really know. Really never say who I think is going to be better than who, or who was the best I had. I get asked that a great deal. So I think the main thing we tried to do was to work them hard and to get them to understand that the hard work that they went through, sometimes they didn't always like that. That was for the future. And sometimes when they went through those tough times that we gave them, they may not have liked it, but when they get through and get out and get ready to play in professional basketball, they look back on it and glad we did. We had a lot of guys in our program that improved it as they played for us, and because of a lot of hard work and because we worked them hard. And so, based on that, not everything, it's sort of like kids are with their mothers and daddies. That sometimes they're fussing about things happening at home until they get their own kids. And when they do, they realize that what had been done for them in the past years was for their good.
Well, when you look back on your coaching career, your long coaching career, what are you most proud about?
Oh, I don't know. I think being able to get our guys to improve and play better. We had some big wins, and we had some disappointing losses. We know we had we were able to get basketball more exciting, I think, at Alabama, maybe than it had been. And proud of that. And our crowds were good. Proud of the guys that we had on our team that played well, played hard. Not anything personal particularly, but just to get these guys to make something out of themselves. We had a lot of emphasis on people graduating. We wanted them to graduate, and we mashed them if they didn't, and we made darn sure they went to class, and so it was. I'm proud of things that those kids did after we kind of stayed after them, and I think they look back on those times and maybe appreciate what went on, and I'm proud of that.
Well, Alabama is currently ranked at 14, following the loss to Kentucky on Saturday. What are your thoughts on the team that Alabama has this year?
They're good. They're a good team. They shoot the ball well. They haven't been quite as good defensively, I think, as they would like to be. But they've got a good team, and they've got a chance to go a long way in the NCAA tournament. They'll be in the top 3 or 4 with a seed. I would assume. I don't know. Basketball scheduling is quite different than it was when I played. When I coached, we played everybody home and away. They don't do that now. They play 5 teams home and away, and the rest of them they don't do it that way. So I think games back in the '80s when I coached, and teams back in the '80s when I coached were maybe a little bit better because we didn't lose any of our players. Our players stayed with us 4 years, and most of them, and that was big. And so, I think that was one of the big factors that we had that they don't have today. And of course, the schedule has changed. They're going to 16 teams in the league next season with Tennessee and with Texas and Oklahoma coming in. So things will be a little bit different. But people try to compare things, but it's not easy to compare because there's a difference. There's a difference in playing. They're going to continue to play 18 games next year, and so instead of having 5 teams that you play twice, you'll only have 3 teams that you play twice. And I don't know who those 3 teams will be for each team, but that's 6 games, and you have 6 on the road and 6 at home. So to me, it's quite a bit of difference because of the schedule. Scheduling is big in the SEC. We've got now. We're going down to the last 4 games of the season, but I would say that Tennessee has the toughest 4 games of the group. All of them are tough, but they have they have Kentucky and Auburn coming to them. In fact, they have Auburn tomorrow, but Kentucky and Auburn coming to Tennessee. Tennessee has to go to Alabama and South Carolina. South Carolina matches up pretty good with Tennessee. Alabama will be hard for Tennessee to beat. So they've got it tougher. I think Tennessee does. Alabama, has Ole Miss and Arkansas, who have struggled a little bit as 2 of their 4 teams. Tennessee at home is sort of a difficult game for them, but playing at home is big. So, and they have to go to Florida, and Florida is hard to beat. So, I think it might be a tad. Just want to look at it and try to study. There's only 2 teams that are going, if you want to call them winning the round robin, it'll either be Alabama or Tennessee.
Well, let me ask you this. You were an assistant at Alabama for 20 years before you were named the head coach. What was that experience like waiting, that long to get your opportunity? I'm sure you had chances to go elsewhere before that. What made you stay in Tuscaloosa?
Well, we had a chance to be every year. We finally got a new arena. We changed. We had 2 new coaches. I didn't get the job. I didn't get the job on the second coach, and I thought we were going to continue to get better, and we started getting minorities, and when we started getting minorities, it helped us a lot. And I thought we had a chance to get, and of course, I recruited in the state of Alabama. We had people coming in trying to get our players, as well as Auburn and UAB, and we did a good job of keeping most of the guys that we wanted in our fold. We got a lot of good players in the state, and we were able to keep people from coming in trying to get them. It got to be the point that people would just fly over it; they wouldn't even stop because they felt like if they were good enough, we were going to get them, and that's what I wanted them to do, was think that we were going to get them. So, and most of the time we did. We lost a couple. We lost 2 or 3, but we know you can always lose a few. So I enjoyed it. We had some tough years, but we had some good years as well.
Do you remember the first time you wore a plaid blazer and noticed people catching on?
I think the problem with that was a little bit that it showcased me rather than the team, which wasn't good. I just happened to wear plaid one day, and they wrote about it. And then I wore it again. They wrote about it again. I thought, well, this is something that they're talking about, so maybe it will help our attendance, and actually it did. We people got to come in and come to the game and wearing plaid, and the mid-court was fixing the plaid, so it was okay. I didn't really do it at that point in time to think anything was going to happen. Particularly, all of a sudden it got involved with our recruiting. Some of the recruits wanted to see a plaid sport coat, and the parents were, and so I thought it helped in recruiting. It helped in attendance, and so it gave us this day and time you see people wearing white. Like I'm Mississippi State's playing Kentucky tonight, and everybody came dressed in white. So everybody has a theme that they like to get to. Sometimes it's white, sometimes it's whatever, but the plaid, plaid kind of did something for our program, I think, a little bit. And what really did the most for our program were the players. That was the main thing. The guys that could play, and they played well. Whether I had on plaid or not, they played well.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk some ball with me. It's been an honor. I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you calling.